Hello out there from Badger Rock. We are continuing our workshop series for Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and we're super excited to be welcoming Sara to the workshop series. Sara has her own business, Flavor Temptations. And Sara, I'll let you introduce yourself we'd love to hear your story and about your business, how you got started, and what you're up to now.
Yep. Thank you, Sara, for that introduction. Sara with an H and Sara without an H. Hi, I'm Sara Parthasarathy. I'm co-founder and CEO of Flavor Temptations. Flavor Temptations is basically we help home chefs cook authentic Indian food from scratch, or it can be even semi-scratch. But we actually provide all the spices and help you discover the joy of authentic Indian cooking and all the flavors that come along with it. Indian cooking is usually about spices, right? So we have these kind of spices. I usually have this spice box that contains a bunch of spices like turmeric and cumin and black mustard, coriander powder, etc. And each person's spice box actually is different. For example, when my mom visits, the spice box looks completely different from what I have because she's used to different kinds of spices. So I have learned a lot of cooking from my mother. So we started this business, actually it was more like trying to help my son out. And when he grew up and he didn't know how to cook, I gave him the spice box when he left home, and I said, hey, just put a little bit of each, you'll be fine, because I never measure. Like you guys don't measure when you're baking, I don't measure when I'm cooking, and nor does my mother. And so I just watched her, and when he went to his house and he started cooking, and well, he had big hands and he put too much of turmeric and too much of cumin, and finally he came home because he lived in town, and he said, Mom, it didn't come out well, it doesn't taste good, too much turmeric, it didn't cook well. And I'm like, okay, well, what did you do? And then in the meantime, he was like, will you make dinner for me? Dinner for me? And I'm like, oh, honey, you're out of the house, go fish, right? I'm not cooking for you. So I had to teach him how to cook, and the best way I thought to teach him was to make, put the recipe, my mom's recipes together in a little recipe card. And then I started measuring out everything for him, because Indian cooking, a lot of people don't realize, is not about throwing curry powder into the pot. It is about adding every spice, and they all have to go in a separate sequence. It's a layering process, and each spice has to be added independently and then measured out. So, and that is the key to Indian cooking. What I mean is creating the right flavor profile is very, very important, and each dish is different. And hence I started putting together these, little packets, Ziploc bags of spices. So like this is for cumin seeds, or this is for cayenne, this is for turmeric, and so on and so forth. I started putting these together, and I gave it to my son, and he was able to cook with that. And guess what? When he was successful, I said, hey, if he can cook, anyone can cook, right? So that's when I started making this more of a business, and we started this and started putting these flavor packets together, which contains the recipe card also, which I don't have it right here, but there's a recipe card which you will see on my website if you go there. So there are multiple dishes that we have, and different kind of spices that are put together. So today, Sara wanted me to show how I cook a few things. So I'm going to first cook cumin rice. So it's basically rice which is got like sauteed cumin, and then adding rice to it, and then cooking it with some salt. Then I'm going to make something called Chana Masala, which is chickpeas, which is cooked in an onion tomato sauce, which are another 10 or 12 different kinds of spices that come in it. And I'm going to make that with a pre-made sauce. We actually pre-made this sauce. That is our logo, and the sauce has got like onions, tomatoes, and ginger garlic, and a few spices in it. And as you can see, none of our products have got any sodium in it. So we have very low sodium in all our products. So that's what for the sauce. And the spice kits also do not have any sodium in it. So that's what we'll make with Chana Masala. And the third dish I'm going to make is curried potatoes. We happen to taste test curried potatoes in a very large school district on the west coast recently, actually like day before yesterday. And more than 300 of the kids, they just loved it. And in elementary school to high school, they loved the curry potato. So I wanted to showcase that and show how to cook that. And this is a spice kit to actually make curried potatoes, which contains all the spices needed, and that's what those large schools were doing in the West Coast. So let's get started. If you guys are ready, Sarah, is that okay?
Yeah, we're ready.
Yep. Any questions, Sarah?
Where can people buy your products if they're interested in your spice kits or your sauces?
You know, the best place to buy it is on our website. It is flavortemptations.com. So www.flavortemptations.com. And we have actually products right now on sale for Mother's Day. So if you if you want to buy any spice kits for your mom or you want to cook for your mom or for your special someone on Mother's Day, this is the time, because we have discounts going on, and the discount code is for mom, and you'll find it on our website.
Good.
And if you order by May 7th, you will get it in time for Mother's Day then.
Okay.
So
I hope my kids get me one of those.
I know, yeah, that's a hint, hint, wink, wink, right?
Exactly.
So what I'm going to do is a rice. I'm going to make it in this little rice cooker. And so starting the rice cooker off. So what it really needs is, I'm going to be sauteing the oil. So I'm going to try doing it here. So open with the oil first. I've done this before.
And is that just vegetable oil, Sarah?
Yep, so I'm just using a little bit of canola oil. Hopefully this goes to cook. I have to cover it a little bit. So I'm just going to add some oil, and I'm just going to cover it, so I think then I can switch it to cook. Yeah. So when after the oil heats up, one of the important things in Indian cooking is, like I said, the layering of spices. So usually the seeds get toasted first, or sometimes at the end, depends on the recipe. So the seeds get toasted, and then after that the rest of the powders get added in between. And usually for some of the products we also have like a garam masala, which is, some people may have heard about it. It's like a warming set of spices. Garam means hot. Masala is a combination of spices. It's a spice blend, which is my mom's recipe that we put together. As the oil is heating, I'm just going to wash the rice. So I have 1 cup of rice out here. This is basmati rice, or long grained rice is what you can do. So the way to wash it is, close this up. So I'm just going to pour some water. It can be as much water as you want, as long as the rice is covered. And then you just sort of mix it up to remove the starch from the rice. So you can see that the water gets light brown in color out here. You can see it's not clear, right? So then I just strain the water out like that. So this is how we wash rice. We don't put it on a strainer or anything. And we'll do this, run this like 2 or 3 times till the water gets a little clearer. Because that helps you remove the starch or anything else sticking to the rice. Back in India, when we have rice, we actually even have some of the shells come along with the rice. They are not as clean. The grains are not as clean. And sometimes the rice even has tiny stones in it. So we have to first unstone or remove the stones, and then remove the shells.
Hey, you don't want to bite down on a stone.
Yeah, I don't want to, and I have done that too. So that's the most annoying, but here, the rice is, so this is what I have just washed 1 cup of rice in the meantime out here. So there's a little bit of water still left, and I just strained it. Keep it here, ready to go. So let's get back to this oil. Hopefully it is heated up. And we have to put the cumin seeds into this. I'm just going to, the oil is really hot. The cumin seeds will start what I call sizzling. I call them dancing seeds because they will sort of dance around. But this oil is taking a little bit of time. Maybe I will switch to a skillet quickly. Let's just do that. Switch this off. Oh, maybe it will get hot.
So Sarah, I know In different parts of India, there are lots of different ways of preparing lots of different dishes.
Yep.
Which region are most of your recipes from, or what style of Indian cooking?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was born in southern India. My mom was born in southern India. These are all her recipes. But then she married my dad, who was in the Indian Air Force. And if you think of India, which is like a peninsula, so you have like the naval bases more on the southern side, and the Air Force and Army bases are up north near Pakistan and things like that. So she lived in northern India for a long time, and so she learned a lot of North Indian cooking, whereas she grew up in southern India, so she was able to cook both, and that's what I do too. I am able to cook both of them then. So let us continue. In the meantime, we will start the as the oil is heating. I will hear it sizzle. In the meantime, I'm going to start the potatoes, right? So that is going to go on a skillet out here, and so here you'll actually see how the seeds get toasted. That's what is going to happen in the rice cooker too. For potatoes, you need to first again toast it with oil. I'm not measuring, as you can see. I'm just throwing some oil in. And as the oil gets heated up, I'm going to add the seeds, toast the seeds. Those are the ones that go first.
And those are the cumin seeds?
Cumin seeds and mustard seeds. So I can just show you what are the various ingredients that go in. So this goes first, mustard seeds, then the cumin seeds, then the potatoes go in, then these spices go in, one after the other, and then at the end we add salt. The salt does not come in our packages. I just created it just for convenience for this video. So now I'm going to add the mustard seeds.
And do you have places that you like to get your spices from?
Here there are some Indian stores, but all my spices come from India actually. They're organic spices, and they are sourced in India directly and then shipped out. They're all measured out and shipped out, and they're put together by women from underserved communities back in India. And here too so as you can see that the mustard seeds are sort of, can you see that they're beginning to pop and sizzle?
Yeah. Yep. There we go.
And as that happens, I'm just going to switch off the heat, because with the hot oil, and then I'm adding the cumin seeds. That's also popping and sizzling. And then here I have chopped up the potatoes already. So these are like chopped up 1-inch cubes, literally. So add the potatoes right away. You don't want the seeds to burn. So this is around 2 pounds of potatoes, what I'm making.
I noticed you put the potatoes in water too. Is that to rinse them, or?
One is to rinse them. The other is by adding the potatoes to the water. It doesn't blacken. Others, if you pre-cut the potatoes, it will blacken. So I'm just going to stir and sort of coat it with the oil nicely.
And this is the dish the students like?
Oh yeah. The kids were like, oh my God.
That is so, I love that part of your business, getting delicious scratch food into school.
Into school, right? School lunches. Because I think Indian food is complicated to begin with anyway, so I'm trying to make it easy and get kids to really enjoy authentic food, and it should also be tasty. Need not be just salads the whole time, just because it's vegetarian or vegan or anything you can have. So now I'm adding the rest of the spices. This is coriander powder, and then I'm adding And as you're adding it, you can actually smell the spices being roasted. Like I said, this is a flavor building process. So adding the spices and then giving it, putting it together.
Oh, it does smell amazing.
Right, you can smell it.
Mm-hmm.
See, turmeric is a spice we use all the time almost. And the one thing about turmeric powder, nowadays you get a lot of these turmeric supplements, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what I would say is taking a tablet of turmeric really is not going to help you as much, because the way turmeric works, it has to attach to a molecule of fat for it to be absorbed by the body.
Oh.
So that is why we put it along with oil, or we have turmeric milk, so then you can heat up the turmeric and then make milk out of it. You heat up the milk and then add turmeric to that. Then I'm going to add some salt.
So really cook the milk is how to get the
Yeah.
properties.
So grind up some pepper, black pepper that is, and add some turmeric and to hot milk, and that's really good for your throat when you have that. So I've added all the spices now. And now I'm just going to let it cook in the steam. I cook it covered so that way all the the juices fall right back into the veggies. And this is in medium to 3 to 5 is where if you have like a number you would put it at, so approximately medium heat, and let it cook out there. So let's see what happens here to the cumin. Okay, this should also toast, but I think this rice cooker is taking a little time. I'm adding the rest of the cumin seeds now. Okay. It's cooked in the oil a bit. And now I'm going to add the rice.
And you said that's about a cup of rice?
1 cup of rice. So to 1 cup of rice, you will add 1.5 times the water. It depends on how you like the rice. If you're just making plain rice, like Chinese food, you get plain rice, right?
Mm-hmm.
That rice is a little mushy. It's sticky rice, basically is what they call it. Then you add a bit more water. You add 2 cups of water, so 1 to 2. But if you want basmati rice and for like Indian food rice, it's more, you can see the grains, they are not as sticky. Then I put 1.5 times the water for that. So for this now I'm going to bring 1.5 times the water from, so 1 cup, this is a half cup measure, I'm going to get 3 cups of this, 3 half cup measures. And my mother-in-law taught me just to add touch more. I don't know why, but we don't exactly measure. It's just like a trick, like, oh, just add a little more.
The things we learn from our mothers and
I know.
mothers and
It's like you don't know why you do that.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law never measured. She would just put her hand in and say, oh, is it coming up to here or something like that. And so now I'm going to add salt to it. Added the salt.
And we'll put the website for Flavor Temptations in the comments too, so that you all can take a look and see what all is available.
So now that's done, so I'm just going to start cooking it now. So let this cook, the rice gets cooked. In the meantime, the potatoes are getting done. And now as I finish trashing this, so now let's make the chana masala. It's called chickpeas and an onion tomato sauce. Totally vegan, very delicious, the best way to eat chickpeas in my mind. So what I'm going to do is, I'm washing this pan up a bit. So for this I need 1 cup of sauce. The sauce we make, actually it is made in a facility in Hudson, so it's all Wisconsin made. Only the spices come from India. So it's got onion, tomato, ginger, garlic, turmeric and cumin and coriander powder. So it's got a lot of really good stuff. So I'm going to put 1 cup of sauce. And these sauces come in smaller sizes too. You can get in like, 1 jar, 8-ounce jars too. So you can see it is so rich and
Smells so good too.
smells so good, right?
Yeah.
So it's so rich. And we've got a touch of vinegar just to make it shelf stable. So this only once you open it, you have to put in the refrigerator, otherwise it can stay out.
It makes it so easy for everyone to make a delicious meal. The sauce, I think, would take the most time. And
It was a selfish motive to have my kids out, so I didn't have to cook, right?
Yeah.
So to that, I'm adding 2 cans of chickpeas, just regular garbanzo beans. I drained out the water, so it stays nice and thick. And then to that, I then add 1 teaspoon of salt, because like I said, there's no sodium in this. So that way you can adjust your own salt. My mother was very much into, don't add too much salt, be careful. And so almost everything we find in the market, any of the sauces or any of the spices, they all contain salt. You look at the sodium level, you're like, oh my God. So this way you can control it. So I added just how much. And then I let this cook, and at the very end, I add the garnish. It's actually like a garam masala garnish, and this has got like 7 different spices. Like it's got things like coriander, black pepper, cloves, cinnamon, cardamom, bay leaf. So a lot of really exotic spices, but then we blend it together and we grind it, so it's all very fresh and very, very aromatic, and that sort of helps the spices to pop. So now you can see I have the sauce and I have the chickpeas. I'm going to add a little water to it, so the water sort of covers the chickpeas so that it can cook with that.
And Sarah, how long have you and Partha been working out of the Bajrak kitchen?
Oh gosh, Badger Rug, I think since 2015, I feel like saying. 2014 or 2015. So around 8 years, 8-9 years, almost coming on 10, I think, next year. And you guys have been so good. The Badger Rug kitchen has been so wonderful. Helped us in our growth tremendously, especially even during the pandemic. We literally were here almost every day because a lot of people were cooking from home, cooking at home, and so people were wanting to buy spices, and I heard Costco had a huge chicken sale, so everyone had chicken in their freezer, didn't know what to do with it. So this way we have spice kits to make chicken tikka masala or tandoori chicken and things, so they could actually cook at home. So this is how I have it now, just sort of covered, and now I will be cooking this. So I cook this until the beans are sort of soft and can mash around the sides of the pan. In the meantime, this potatoes are getting cooked. You can see it.
Oh wow, when you took the oud off, it smells so good.
Yeah. So again, I cook it until the potatoes are soft.
My family has used a lot of Sarah and Partha's kits, so we can vouch for how delicious they are. And
thank you.
our kids love them too.
You've been such a big support. So as you can see, the potatoes are sort of cooking. You can actually cut them, right? So I like them a little mushy. Some people like them crispy. If you bake them, when we did it a couple of days ago, we did it in a large scale for like 300 tastings and things like that. We actually baked it. We spiced everything up, and instead of putting it in the skillet, we put it on sheet pans, baked it for half an hour. Came out perfect.
Wow. So you can scale it way up.
Yep, can scale it however you want to, how much ever you want. And we have bigger spice kits for larger quantities. So if you're catering, for example, and you want to make like 5 pounds or 10 pounds at a time, you don't have to buy the smaller packets. Get a bigger packet, and you can make 10 pounds at a time. Really great options for, and you don't have to, with the spice kit, you don't have to make only with potatoes. You can make it with cauliflower, you can make it with fresh veggies from your garden. Okra, you guys have fantastic okra. I use the same set of spices to make okra curry, and it's like really to die for. And with the fresh okra you have, and then this is the best okra I've tasted. Even in India, I've not tasted that kind of okra.
Wow, we'll have to invite you back in July or August to cook with our okra.
To cook the okra?
Yes.
Absolutely, I would love to do that. So, so that's cooking. This is cooking. So everything now is just a question of waiting, and then we take it. You have any questions for me?
I cannot wait to taste this delicious feast that we just that you just prepared. I shouldn't say we. I've been. I have not been a part of this.
Yeah.
But
You just do a little bit of cleanup out here, and then yeah. So this spice box, there are so many spices in India. This is one box. I have another box with some of the other seeds like cardamom and clove and pepper and things. So that's another box. So India, I don't know people if they know this, every state has got its own cuisine, and they've got their own culture, and it's got its own language and traditions. So imagine from Wisconsin you're driving over to Illinois, you cross the border and you have to speak a different language. Or now you have different cuisine. But then the best thing is like we can pick what we want from each state. So now you have so many delicious dishes that you can try out. Vegetarian and vegan food is very, very simple to make. If you're going vegan, for example, Indian cooking is the best because you have so many options with that. Like both these things, all this thing I'm making right now is totally vegan in fact, and it's very delicious. So you don't have to worry about too much of processing, you know, like some of the Beyond Burgers and things like that, they have so much of processed stuff and things you cannot even pronounce, right? So this way, it's back to basic cooking is what I call it, and scratch cooking is always best. It's always healthy. So that's what we have found that in Indian cooking, it really lends itself to a lot of people who are looking for newer things and more flavors and stuff like that. So.
yeah, and I know a lot of people are going to more plant-based diets these days, so
Right.
it's great to have some ideas for how to get started. Yeah.
Exactly. And then especially in the summer when you have your own garden or community garden, and you can bring those fresh veggies home, or the CSA
Yeah.
boxes that you get, and you can bring it home, and then you can make with squash. It's just that once you know how to create a particular flavor profile, you can then tailor it for any of the other ingredients you get. Veggies, and you can experiment. That's what my son did. He would experiment with it. He would open up a can of diced beets, right? And then he would use a curried potato spice kit, and then he would make curried beets. He loved it.
Yeah.
But then, so he would bring it home, and then he would say, "Mom, see what I made." So I would taste it, and then I would say, "What is this thing with like stringy thing coming? What is this thing coming up?" And he'll say, "Oh, I just added cheese to it." Well, he's from Wisconsin, right? He was born like a Packer fan, so it was just like he would add cheese to everything, and that's what's nice. It's like you can make it your own. You don't have to be very strict about recipe, which I think even when you're baking, you can do that, right? You can sort of experiment and do stuff. And Sarah, you were able to create naan. You did a naan bread.
Yeah, with our garden classes this week, we made saag with spinach from our hoop house, and we made homemade naan.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure we didn't make it as well as you might have said.
You know, you
but we
are
did
one
our
step
best.
ahead or 10 steps ahead because I've never made naan.
Okay.
I buy the one from Costco, but
It was delicious. It was a big hit.
it is, yeah. My mom has made naan. I have sort of helped her out a couple of times, but I haven't really. To me, that's the hard part. I make chapatis. Chapatis are rotis,
Yeah.
which I think I told you once how to do that, right? So
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
that is basically it's wheat flour. You knead wheat flour with some salt and some oil, a little water, and knead it into a ball. And then make smaller balls, roll it out like tortillas, and then you're putting it on a skillet and cooking. It's pretty simple. In fact, in northern India, they are more wheat-based food. because it's so colder out there, right? So most of the products, like the dishes they make, is like more heartwarming and belly warming. Like the Chana Masala is a North Indian dish, and so it's got heartwarming spices like clove and cinnamon and cardamom and things like that to sort of warm you up. Southern India is more rice based. So again, you can see it's the peninsula as India, right? You have the rivers flowing down to the sea, so you have a lot of paddy fields and rice fields on the sides, on the river banks. And it's more warmer, hotter there, like Southern India. So we eat rice. So we are rice eaters mostly. And Northern India is more wheat. So it's just interesting how we start looking at how the geography plays a role in the way people make their food or cook. Like if you look at Eastern India, it's like Bengal, Calcutta. They are more fish based. They eat a lot of fish because again you have all the Ganges Delta and all the rivers out there. And then Western is a different cuisine. It's in Bombay and Pune and Goa. You have different cuisine.
Yeah.
It's just interesting.
India is such a big country. It's funny, in the US, you go to a restaurant and it's called Indian restaurant.
I know. And it's majority
simplified.
North Indian food, actually, when you really think about it,
Yeah.
Indian restaurants. I wish they would make Southern Indian foods. Did you know that India became the most populous country in the world, like this weekend?
Oh, did it really?
Yes, it took over, overtook China.
Wow. Wow.
All over the news, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. We have to. So now you can come and see how this chickpeas is getting cooked out here in the sauce. And we sort of like try to mash it on the side. You can see it's sort of mashing, right? This is like, I call it the pasta test, right? That's how you do test the pasta. So this means that the spices have all sort of, it's absorbed all the spices. So this is when I do my magic. So the magic is adding the garam masala at this time.
Okay.
So most of the sauces come with the garam masala in the sauce. So over time, the sauce loses its flavor. The spices lose their flavor. But if you have it ground, freshly ground and in a package like this, as a dry spice, it's definitely more powerful. So when you add it at this time, it will just like pop all the spices. So you want to smell that and see?
Oh, wow. Yum. Wow.
Yeah, so
it smells warm.
yeah.
It smells like
So
a
now I
warm-
just add this garam masala. We go to a lot of trouble to pack these. These are they become very expensive by the time I finish packing them.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's a lot of different spices
spices.
in there.
So now I cook it and see it became like a golden brown, yellow now color. And now when you actually, so this is what, imagine if you're serving this in a cafeteria and people walk by and they're like, oh my God, that smells so good.
Yeah.
So you can put this chana masala over rice, or you can have it with some naan bread. So now I just let it simmer.
And there's your protein right there.
There's your protein right there. Yep. You can put any kind of beans to this sauce.
It was funny because lots of times our students will say, "Where's the meat?" In the
Yeah.
dishes that we cook with the sag. Nobody said where's the meat because the flavors are rich enough that you don't need
Right, you don't need it. So now here the potatoes are getting cooked, as you can see. They're soft, so now I'm going to make it, and now I'm going to cook it, roast it a little bit uncovered. So it browns nicely, and then it looks really yum when you take it, when it comes through to eat. You got to watch it a bit as you're cooking, once you have the dish on high fire.
Sarah, I've heard that different people have different recipes and proportions and things for garam masala too.
Yeah.
Is that the case?
Yep. So, when you look at the store-bought garam masala, for example, they tend to add a lot more, like some of the cheaper seeds, like coriander seeds and things like that, so it sort of goes high on the coriander level.
Okay.
But then if you but when we add some of the other spices are more expensive, like cinnamon and cardamom. They are all more expensive, so they tend to sort of go easy on that. And
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, so sometimes you would find it's not as aromatic, but so we don't do that. So we have cumin seeds and even garam masala. Like I said, it's a layering process, right? So the way it is toasted is got to be done in a layering fashion again. My mom would always, 3 spices on one plate, another 3 on another plate, or 2 on another plate, and she said, first this goes in, wait until you can smell it, then you add the next, and then, so that's how she taught me how to make garam masala. And so you add some of the hardy spices first, let it cook for a while, then you add the medium hardy ones, like hardy spices would be like cinnamon and clove and things like that, maybe a little hardy. But then like cumin seeds and all are much lighter, so you add them at the very end. Others, they would burn out. So you have to really time it the way you make the actual blend. And then you're grinding. Then you let the whole thing cool, then you grind it, and again you let it cool.
Oh, so it's cooked?
It's pre-cooked, right?
Okay.
So that is the reason you can add it at the end. So you don't have to add it along with the sauce initially. You have since it's already pre-cooked, you can add it as a garnish at the very end.
Oh, I didn't realize it was cooked.
It's cooked. So it's cooked early. All the spices get cooked, then ground. So there is an expertise involved in all that.
Yeah, I had no idea that the garam masala in the store was blended for cost savings instead of flavor.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so now the rice is done, if you can see, and it came to warm, so I'm just going to switch it off and leave it on for a little while. You can see
too.
all the rice is cooked along with the cumin. So then before you serve it, just fluff it up a bit, mix it up, and then you can serve it. So the potatoes, the chana masala is done too out here.
This is such a fast meal too when you have all the spices pre-mixed
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, half the work is done. Measuring all the
Yeah.
spice and making sure you have the right spice is done. So half the work is done. So you have the potatoes all roasted up, ready to go. So let's plate it now. Sarah, you want to taste?
Yeah.
Okay. We will just put it here. So first I'm going to just put the potatoes. So this has got like mustard seeds, cumin seeds, coriander powder, turmeric, cayenne. What we do is, because cayenne, people think Indian food is spicy, but the spice that has the heat is cayenne. Everything else is flavor. So you can go gangbusters with that, right?
Yeah.
Cayenne is where, when the Indian restaurant says spice level 1 through 5, they are adjusting the cayenne for you, right? So what we do is we always give the cayenne separate packet. So if you add all of it, then it will be like at a level 4 or something. But then if you want to go easy on it, or you've got kids at home, go easy on it, just put like maybe a quarter of the packet or half of the packet. So now let's do the chana masala. So this you can see with the sauce and the chickpeas out here. And then let's do the rice. So I'm just going to fluff it up a bit, mix it up so you have the cumin all mixed up. Because they float to the top when you actually cook it, right? Because it's lighter.
Oh yeah.
So
Mix it in a little bit.
now you can even add, like during like weddings and occasions, the same rice is made, but we would add things like saffron.
Oh, yeah.
Saffron is a very, very expensive spice,
Yes.
because it's like the pistils of a flower and it's hand picked. But you just need like 3 strands or 5 strands for this much of rice, and then it'll just have a really nice flavor to that. So that's saffron rice. There you go. So Sarah,
Oh, it's beautiful.
this is for you. So you have the curried potatoes, chana masala, and cumin rice. You got a meal.
That
And
was
add
so
to
quick.
it a little yogurt, and you can make some raita, and you're done.
That's it. That was
That's
so quick and so delicious. I can't wait to taste it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sarah. We so appreciate you coming in and sharing your recipes and your stories.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, we'll
Enjoyed it,
look
yeah.
forward till next time.
Yep. Thank you. Bye. Bye, everyone.